Hi, welcome back to my channel about well-being in everyday life. This is a mini-series about something that you don't do in your daily life. This is indeed about why I encourage you to go on a pilgrimage at least once in your life, even if you're not religious. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned in. Welcome to the series Himalayan-inspired well-being insights. I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a spiritual being, interested in the interconnection with each other, with us all, interested in the bigger picture, interested in what I call a higher source, some sort of source that gives me sustenance and that also holds me in place when things get dire. I'm also a yogini, and as such I'm interested in the mother country of India because I'd like to see and to learn more about the spirituality there, and that's why the pilgrimage that I chose and I want to talk about today was in India, and it was going to the source of the Ganges, which is in the Hindu tradition called the mother of humanity. And that deeply inspired me because I, especially these days, want to find everything possible that I can in the ancient wisdom we all hold and in today's knowledge about how to strengthen humanity so we move forward on a positive track and not get stuck and sucked into conflicts all the time. So there we go. I was advised to go to Gangotri, which is the source of Mother Ganga. And you have to know, the Ganga in India is worshipped by many. Many tears will be shed alongside its riverbanks, many hopes, many prayers, human ashes even is going down the river to come back to what life is all about, being part of it all. So when you go on a pilgrimage and you're not a religious person, why would you do that? Many reasons bring people to a pilgrimage. For most of them, it's about going deep inside, finding something inside that they want to connect to. Often people go on pilgrimages in times of transitions. It might be after a diagnosis or being healed of a disease. It might be because somebody passed away. It might be because you have a life transition like a job change, or you want to find your next career step or your next step in life, giving and finding direction. I think that is a good way to summarize it. Looking for direction and guidance, and looking for purpose and how oneself connects with the rest of this life and of it all. And indeed, that's what happened on my trip as well, because I was traveling with a group and hardly anyone knew each other before we got together in India, and then were stuck with each other for 2 weeks to travel together, first in little hotels and later by tents, to really go deep into the Himalayas and go to the glacier from which the Ganges actually, sort of gets pulled out and is flowing down through the mountains and then becomes this vast, majestic river. When you travel for this purpose, you have a lot of layers to shed. You think you want to leave your home behind, you want to leave your current and ordinary life behind, you want to leave the roles behind that you normally hold in life so that you really can concentrate on yourself. Maybe one good way to describe it is if you, for example, sit down in a church or in a mosque or in a synagogue and just let yourself immerse into that sacred space that these temples, these churches, these places of sacredness hold, you will find that people have been sitting there for a long time, often for eons, to leave something there. Either they were wishing for something, or they were wanting to get rid of something, or they were hoping for something. They looked for salvation, they looked for guidance, they looked for comfort. That is a very human, beautiful human thing, and that is what you find when you go on pilgrimages. These are ancient tracks. These are trails that have been walked before by many, and often by people who were holy or people who had a close relationship with the spiritual side. And when we embarked on those tracks, we could feel that. You could sense that, and not without purpose. These trails are in beautiful and stunning nature. I cannot tell you how much the mountains in the Himalayas and the river at the bottom of it, how much that resonated with us and the effect it had on us. It takes something to travel that far, to go to a destination and then to exert yourself and track and use your physical body and no more vehicle at some stage to walk the track. And you want to be really mindful when you do that and take all that effort. And that's another point. A pilgrimage is about effort. You do want to exert yourself. You do want to find your limits. And limits you will find. You will find physical limits, because sometimes the tracks are hard and long and you walk for many hours, or you walk in high altitude like we did and you walk steep hill climbs. You find mental barriers because you might hit a wall. You bring something to this trip, to this pilgrimage, that then works with you while you're walking. Many people shed tears. We did. And the beauty is that people understand. You don't have to explain a thing. You will be just held by the group or by the other pilgrimage people walking down the tracks or up the tracks with you, because we are in this together at that point in time. And that is a beautiful thing. So you can become, what I would say, raw. You can become emotional. You can shed a lot of stuff that you might have carried around with you for a long time. Because the mixture of the physical exertion, the beauty of the nature, the ancient energy sitting on these tracks, that is what deeply works with you. And if what I would call, what happens is you open your heart, you open yourself up to a level that you would often not do in your daily life, because you would be too raw. There you can do that. And there you find wisdom. You find wisdom inside yourself that has been sitting there for a long time, but you didn't have time to access it. You find wisdom by listening to others. You find wisdom by listening to the river flowing, to the wind blowing across the mountains. You find wisdom by deep meditation, by prayer, by simply sitting and allowing time to pass at times. You find a side inside yourself that helps you to go the next steps in your life that you're meant to be going. And that is a beautiful thing. And I wish that more of us had access to these kinds of travels or journeys which humans have been doing for thousands of years. And you do not have to be religious, I think, for that, because we humans have that soul-searching level within us. We all have. We express it differently. And these trips allow you to resonate with that side of yours that is tender, that is beautiful, that is ancient, that has a lot of wisdom, and that will give you the sustenance and the energy and the foresight to come back home and then integrate what you experience on these trips into your daily life again with a bit more clarity, with a bit more purpose, with a bit more trust that ultimately life will carry you, that hardships are there to learn from, and that you can overcome them, and that life has many turns, and if we soften towards it, we will go as we should, in a beautiful way. And that is why I started this series to tell you how much travels like this can open your mind, your heart, your soul. And if you're interested in learning more, I'm going to give you a couple more of those pieces of wisdom or questions that I brought back from my pilgrimage to the beloved source of the Ganga, which is stunning, beautiful, and healing. Look after yourself.